legacy maker, the All Sports
The
Network.
place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. Let people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I show you my war face. No holds bars up for your sake. You better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey, burn them. Fire, 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 burn them. Fire, 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 burn them. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn them. Fire, 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 legacy on fire. Fire, 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 burn. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. It has been a while, but we're ready to bring you the heat here on Legacy on Fire. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in to today's episode, May 22nd, 2025. We are in the year 2025, and it's our first one of 2025. Look, first of all, let me go ahead and give you the illustrious panel here today. To my left, man, myth, legend, co-founder of the Legacy Maker Sports Network, Mr. Jeremiah Quimby. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. Good to
Awesome.
be back.
Awesome. And then below here, the man, myth, and the legend that is a one of the mainstays here on Legacy on Fire, Mr. James Brown. How you doing, brother? Don't y'all
Doing good, man.
We value
Glad to be
his
back.
opinion and his sports knowledge.
That's right. It is top tier, ladies and gentlemen. It is top tier. Look, once again, we're glad to be back. We got a lot to get into. There's a lot that's went on in the last week here in the sports world, last week or so. So we're going to kind of get into that. We're going to get, before we even get started with our show, first thing that happened, this happened yesterday, was Jim Irsay passing away. That happened yesterday, 65 years old. They found him in his sleep. And they just got back from I don't know if he was at the owners' meetings or they had just got back from the owners' meetings, but it did happen. And it was just a crazy situation. But I wanted to get your quick thoughts, fellas, on Jim Irsay passing away, and what do you think that means to the Indianapolis Colts?
Well, his daughter has run the program before when he got in trouble with the DWI. And was suspended for a year, and he was able to bring at least one ring to that city. But also, they've been to 2 Super Bowls under his regime. Plus, with the help of Pat McAfee, they got brought in WrestleMania finally to the Lucas Oil Stadium. So I think it'll be all right, even though we don't want his legacy just to be remembered for that bad time, because everybody has their moments in life. Yeah, but I mean, they've yet to say what cause of death was. Like you said, he just got back. I think he was taking an afternoon nap and they found him that he'd passed. So prayers and thoughts go out to the Colts family and the Irsays.
Well, what about you, James? Your thoughts on Jim Irsay and his passing?
Definitely sad to see him go, but he was an owner where, we've heard very few things when it comes to disgruntlements or, people being upset with him or how he ran the organization. He was an owner where it seemed his players loved playing for him. People in that building loved to be a part of the organization. Even if you think back to the scenario where they hired Chuck Pagano and was diagnosed with the cancer, and the way they rallied behind him, the organization from top to bottom, Chuck Strong, and even with Bruce Arians taking over instead for Pagano until he was able to come back. Irsay supported the team, his coaches, the whole way, the whole 9 yards. And so, I think he'll definitely be missed around the city. And one of the last things he did was, cheering on the Indianapolis Pacers right before they took off on the Eastern Conference Finals. So, it's sad to see him go. Hopefully, he's doing better now. I think they said he may have been experiencing some health issues, so he doesn't have to deal with that anymore.
All right.
And hopefully, the Colts will rally behind this and kind of use it to fuel the fire for the season. Maybe get another one for Jim in the case.
Yeah, it's tough because he's one of the I would say, even despite the DUI stuff, I feel like he was one of the more beloved owners in the league. When you heard Jim Irsay's name, it was a name that you like, okay, he had a little trouble, but he seemed like a guy's guy for the most part. Somebody that you like, if I could sit down and drink a beer with this guy, it would probably be a very fun conversation. Pat McAfee thought the world of this guy. And if you can just tell, like, they just seem like they have similar energy. So it seems like they may, I don't know how he's taking it. I didn't get a chance to see the show or see how he's taking it.
He
But
gave a very good bit where he talked about his feelings and his relationship with Ursay, even after he decided to take that swim. And very supportive guy, very much a team or a player's owner. So he was there for his guys.
Yeah, well, like I said, we like we all said, just prayers to his family. And look, it gave the Indiana Pacers energy, and we'll talk about what they did last night against the Knicks. So we'll get into all that here in just a second. We got Western Conference Finals matchup tonight with OKC and Minnesota. OKC's already up 1 in that series. So we'll get all in that. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and start off with one sentence. All right, our first one sentence topic has to deal with, this happened last week. Pete Rose finally has been reinstated into Major League Baseball. Now, obviously, a lot of fans, I'm pretty sure, Jay, I know both of you guys will probably feel the same way I feel, but this is too little too late, obviously. And to see a guy like Pete, be the player that he was, do all the things that he's done, as a player. Yes, he did what he did, but for me, it was weird. Like, you're going to not let this guy back in when they're openly letting people gamble now?
Yeah,
I was just like, wait a minute. So you got to let him back in, right? That's how I felt about it.
May of 2018 is when Supreme Court said sports gambling was legalized.
Yeah.
So what, we've been 7 years. They could have let him in and they didn't.
Yep.
And they wait till the man is gone and not able to be there to take part. I mean, I know Shoeless Joe Jackson and the stuff they did was way worse than what Pete did. Even though it's wrong and he broke the rules, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
It's still, he wasn't shaving from or betting on games he was in.
Exactly. And that's the part that was just kind of weird, that, let him back in. There's a lot of people that say he don't deserve to be in, but there's different eras of baseball. Like it, and it's crazy to me that all of your stars, like all of your major stars and major eras, are not in the Hall of Fame. Like the 90s had a weird time going on, but guess what? No Bonds, no Clemens, none of those guys in the Hall of Fame. No McGuire, no Sosa, obviously. But if it wasn't for McGuire and Sosa, baseball doesn't even get back to where they were after the strike. So it's just like 4 or 5 key characters who have statistic-wise they're Hall of Famers easily. Not in the Hall of Fame. But hey, James, with you, brother, one sentence on Pete Rose being reinstated into MLB.
Definitely was too little too late. I mean, as we pointed out here, this was a situation where this could have been done while he was still here, still walking amongst us, to actually be able to kind of relish in the moment, accept it, be embraced again by the community, versus now he's gone. And it feels like maybe this was something that they wanted to happen, but the tipping point was the fact, well, now that he is gone, man, we really did him up. We really probably should have did this years ago. Well, let's just do it now. That's what it gives to me, in my opinion. And I feel like, honestly, at this point, too little, too late. I know there's argument of, will he be eligible for the Hall of Fame, or will the family accept on his behalf or not? And honestly, who knows? They could decide to give the league the middle finger since Pete got it for so long.
Right.
I think at this point, they tried to make it a feel-good story, and it's just like, nah, we're not going for that.
Jay, did you have a one sentence that you would equate to everything that's going on with Pete being reinstated into the Hall of Fame. I mean, being reinstated to the MLB. Yes, Jay.
Yeah, you.
I didn't hear what I didn't hear what you said.
Yeah. Oh, my fault. I was saying. I said, did you have one sentence
about damn time?
There you go. it was just waiting. It's about damn time to get this man back in. I know his family said they probably won't accept it, which he wanted his family not to accept it, and that's a tough thing. I mean, now that he's gone, but it's a part of me as a fan of baseball. Like, look, no matter what, he deserves his flowers. He deserves to have that moment in Coopertown, even if he's not here anymore, even if his family not there. I know that sounds crazy, but he deserves that. And he personally never. Shoeless Joe Jackson as well, I guess. I don't know how they are going to figure all that out, and the other 16 players that are,
Right.
that they're going to figure all out from there. But I know a lot of people that won't be popular with folks, but it what it is. And sorry, Pete, that it took so long. He is in the WWE Hall of Fame though. So, I mean, if it ain't one, he's in that Hall of Fame. He is in there. Next one sentence. This one I'm not a fan of. Oh boy, I swear they pissed me off. The tush push. It is staying, ladies and gentlemen. The tush push is staying. They voted 22 to 22-4, and it was 22-4 and 10 against. We know one of those teams that was definitely against that. I'm not a fan that they were against it, but it is what it is. I can't control it. I can't control it. Somebody on the decided, look, we don't like what's happening here. Like, all right, guys, why you had to be it? It could have been anybody, but it had to be Green Bay. And I was down at the owners' meeting when this initially was going on, and I'm just like, I don't like the vibe, man. People getting the Packers the evil eye, and it was just a big controversy on the way down there. James, I'll start with you first. What's your one sentence on the tush push staying in the NFL?
Short, sweet, simple. Push on. Just push is here to stay. And honestly, I'm all for it. Again, if you don't like it, find a way to stop it. Again, the Eagles run this play in 3rd and short, 4th and short. If you don't like it, how about your defense step up, play ball, and prevent 3rd and shorts, 4th and shorts? I mean, to my knowledge, have we ever seen the tush push be ran on 3rd and 5 or 3rd and 6 and to pick up a first down? It's always short yardage situations. Granted, you may not always be able to prevent it, but if you're tired of seeing it, either create a defensive play to stop it, or as a defensive unit, stop the Eagles from accumulating yards and getting into 3rd and shorts and 4th and shorts. But I'm all for staying.
Yeah. I'll talk about it in a second. Jay, what's your one sentence on the tush push staying in the NFL?
I'm with James. I'm glad it's staying, but in the rule book it says you're not allowed to pick a player up and help them in any which way, shape, or form. So for me, if they go in and they pick up Jalen Hurts, like his rear end, and his feet come off the ground, then that should be a flag. They should be able to implement a rule to make that a flag. Pushing him is one thing, but picking him up is another. So
yeah, I agree with that.
I mean, they do that for all the teams now. I mean, we've seen it multiple times where the running back gets to the goal line, the wide receiver gets to the goal line, and somebody comes up behind them and shoves them into the end zone, and it gets called a touchdown. So it's not just on the tush push that stuff happens. And so that's why another reason I'm fine with it. They're letting everybody in the league do it. Some teams just don't like that Philly designed a play that's an automatic first down when they run it. And it's like, I get it. You don't like it because it's effective against you. Either stop it, or if you can't beat them, join them. But every team can't do it. Every team's not good enough or has the personnel. So I think that's why they're really mad.
Scenarios for the 3rd and short and 4th and short.
What was that?
Go ahead, Jay. I didn't hear that last part.
No. Stop giving them the scenarios where they have 3rd and short and 4th and short. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll say this. Like, obviously, y'all know I don't like the fact that Green Bay was a team. They could have picked it. Why couldn't it be Minnesota? It could have been anybody else. I was like, man, come on, guy. And it's worse because we lost to them twice. And we lost to them in like weird ways. Like, the first game was a game they probably should have won. The second game, they were in the game and they were beat up. And
wasn't the score of one of those games 22-10?
Yes, it was 22-10. Isn't that the craziest thing? So, like, that's what the vote goes to 22-10. So it's karma. But this is the only concern that I have. Now, I don't mind the play. I agree with you guys 100%. Stop the play. This play won't go anywhere unless players start getting hurt. This is a more of a reactive league than a proactive league at times. So unless you start seeing people get hurt, that's not going to happen. What's up, Joey? Good to hear from you, brother. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to change the philosophy if that's the case. They just ain't going to do it. So until people start getting hurt, it's going to take a player that is like a big name, Jalen Hurts, somebody like that, to get hurt multiple times on it. Then I think that's when they may, okay, we may need to reevaluate this. But nobody's really gotten hurt from it. Maybe Chris Jones was a little nicked up from the Super Bowl. Maybe, but they were struggling. They were struggling. Before we move on, our man DJ Bland says, but it's almost unstoppable because they have control. The linemen know the snap, the defense doesn't. My thinking is if a team is willing to put their most expensive player and most important player in danger, then let them. I'm like, yeah, right.
Can't disagree with that.
Yeah, me neither. That's what I feel that 100%.
Or get you a linebacker that's willing to fly over the top and grab him by the shoulder pads and pull him back.
Or just be Frankie Louvo and just keep getting penalties until they give you the touchdown. I was sitting there like, he's not gonna just let them. They was like, if he does it one more time, there's gonna be a touchdown reward. I'm like, I've never heard them just say we're gonna give you 6 points. But I mean, I guess you can't keep getting a penalty, and you can't go but too much further. They can't go half a distance to the goal when you're at the -2 yard line or something like that. You can't do that. So
like you're at the third blade of grass.
Yeah. Touchdown. Like, I think we can move it over just a little bit more. Give us one more shot. Oh, it's crazy. All right, that's it for one sentence. Now we're gonna head on over to the fire starter. First fire starter that we have. Oh man, this has to do with Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Look, they have picked up where they've left off. I mean, it's been, pretty much quiet over the, past off season. You haven't heard too much about the rivalry, but the rivalry hasn't gone anywhere. These two, I'm not going to say they hate each other. The media wants to say that they hate each other. There may be a little bit of resentment there, but these two are fierce competitors. And when I see them, I see Bird and Magic. And what Bird and Magic did for the NBA,
you're being too nice.
Well, I'm just saying, like what Bird and Magic did for the NBA is what Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are doing for the WNBA. And unfortunately, it's white versus black, but that's just the way that kind of is. Jay, I'll start with you first. What's your thoughts on the rivalry continuing between Clark and Angel Reese?
I mean, it's great for the WNBA because that game was one of the most viewed games that they've had in a long time. And people want to watch it, but it's nice to see Clark is not going to take that. Some of the flagrants that were happening last year were just people getting pissed off because she's good. Fundamentally, Caitlin Clark is one of the better players we've seen. She reminds me the way she shoots the ball of Cheryl Miller. It's the best way to put it. Reese has zero fundamentals when it comes to shooting the ball. She can box out and rebound. That's it. She's like let me see, Darko Milinovic.
Darko, he had to pull that one. He was like 03 draft, and bam, there you go.
Did you see her shoot the penalty shot or the?
It was
That was brick. You heard it through the TV go donk.
It's so weird because I feel like she was better at LSU. I don't remember her playing that way at LSU. Maybe I'm just seeing that wrong, but a lot of people, and Joey says brick Angel Reese, every time she throws up a shot, she gets rebounds all the time because she can't make a bucket.
She's rebounding her own shot.
He says he can't make
I've
a shot.
seen her a couple times go and shoot it under the basket and hit the bottom of the basket.
and it's the craziest thing. Like, and I've seen her have games where I'm like, okay, she's on it, you know.
But those are games where she's not playing against Caitlin.
That's true. I mean, lately, Caitlin has had her number. Last year when she went across the head and smacked her across the head on that foul, you know, it was a big to-do. So every time these two play each other, it's always going to be something. James, I head to you, man. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the rivalry continues. What are your thoughts on this whole situation, man?
My thoughts are, if this is truly going to be a rivalry, Angel's got to start getting some games over Caitlin, man. I mean, right now, since last season till now, the Fever have a 4-1 lead over the Sky, and the one game the Sky won, they only won it by a point. And so, you know, if this is truly going to be the rivalry that reshapes and resets the WNBA, Angel's got to start getting some more wins, and her team's got to get some more wins against the Fever under their belt. And I do believe Angel's going to have to develop her game a little bit more, especially when it comes to her shot and her touch around the rim. Again, the whole reason Caitlin fouled her is because, hey, go to the line, earn it there from the stripe versus the chances of you making a layup. Again, did I think it was a flagrant foul? No, I thought it was a good take foul. People try to argue that, you know, hey, Caitlin did push her on the back end. And I'll say, okay, I'll give you that. But in the same response, Angel definitely did push her teammate to secure the rebound before Caitlin pushed her. So again, if we can go tick for tack all day, bottom line is Angel's got some things to work on in her game in order to lift up her team and make this rivalry a true rivalry, or else the Fever are going to keep dominating it and it's going to lose its luster. Yeah. So I think in order for this rivalry to truly continue, Angel and the Sky got to get some wins under their belt on their side.
Yeah, it's. I'll tell you the other crazy thing about it is, like, since that national championship game, Caitlin's had a number. I mean, I agree with you guys 100%. Like, she's had a number. She's winning the games. I think she might have snuck one in there somewhere. I could be wrong on that, but it's been Caitlin Clark. And even though if you watch the beginning of the last season, Angel Reese was, you know, she was having a really good start of the season. We were like, oh man, she's really killing it. Caitlin was kind of get her feel. She was getting beat up, as Jay was saying. Like, she was getting beat up a little bit, and everybody was gunning for her, kind of the way Paige Beckers is getting it right now. But everybody is just like, you know, going for her. But now that Caitlin has got a feel for it, and you saw it towards the end of last season, I'm like, all right, now that's the Caitlin Clark we saw. And, you know,
those logo shots that she takes and makes is enough to make, I mean, that'll suck all of the energy completely out of another team.
Yeah, and I think that's the other thing. Like, Caitlin Clark is putting butts in the seats. I mean, when all of your teams are having to move to bigger arenas, every time she comes into town, like, she's box office.
Yeah.
You know, and yes, of course, Angel and Caitlin are even more box office when they're together because of the, you know, the beef, you know, or whatever, you know, the rivalry where people want to call it, you know. And so it's so interesting how it kind of goes. And it'll be fun to kind of see the rivalry continue as we go along. I am really excited about that. But there was a birth of another rivalry because of this rivalry. And that's the one between Ryan Clark and Robert Griffin III. Here's the funny thing, fellas.
Why'd you have to give RG3 the pink suit?
Because he looked cool. That was the cleanest one I could find, you know. And look, he looked sharp. He looked dapper. He got blue glasses on, though. He got blue glasses on.
But look, his eyes doing the thing mine does when it wanders.
All right, now don't do that. But so look, this rivalry has spanned it in different ways. Some people have different feelings on it. A lot of people feel that Ryan Clark is right. A lot of people feel that Robert Griffin is right. And it's been a very interesting take on how both of the players, I think maybe some things have been misconstrued throughout the way. Who knows? But I wanted to get you guys' thoughts on this. James, I'll start with you first. Ryan Clark, RG3, who's right? Who's wrong? You know, what are your overall thoughts in this bad boy?
Honestly, man, who's right, who's wrong? So this started off when RG3 gave his take on, again, the flagrant foul situation between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, when he said, you know, Angel hates Caitlin, I believe.
Yeah.
And then, Ryan Clark kind of fires back. Well, I don't know how you can really get to that point. I don't know who's right. I don't know who's wrong. The weird thing that I get out of it is Ryan's comments about RG3 and always talking about milk and referring to his wife as milk. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this legit? And then you go down RG3's timeline and his tweets and his pictures, and he's doing it. I'm out with a tall glass of milk. Milk and Cookie Day on National Milk Day. Super Saiyan Milkman. He's the milk. So it's like, bruh, you mad at Ryan and saying he crossed the line for talking about your family when Ryan Clark said, well, hey, you always make these corny jokes about referring to your wife as milk and point out the color of her skin where I've had a conversation with her, she's more than that. And then you go down the timeline and you see the proof, and it's like, I mean, my God, you called yourself the Super Saiyan Milkman. What is that all about?
It's crazy work.
What are we talking about here? Super Saiyan Milkman out with a tall glass of milk? Like, what you mean by that? Like, what's going on here? It's like, come on, dog. You can't be mad you can't get mad when the man pointed out the truth. You over here drinking milk and whatnot, making all these jokes and whatnot. Somebody said, hey, bro, that's kind of corny. I don't know. And then no, that's not cool. You crossed the line. This, that, and the third. It's like he got caught drinking the milk and was like, hey, don't talk about me and my milk. It's like, bro, you putting it out there for everybody else. Super Saiyan Milkman. I was like, this is crazy work.
Joey,
I've never seen such.
He can't be lactose intolerant. If
Definitely not.
Like his milk.
Hey, like it, and that's
he's definitely not lactose intolerant on any degree, on any level. He's getting that milk in.
Exactly.
A farm at the crib, the way he be talking.
Oh my goodness, Jay, we're heading to you, brother. Ryan Clark, RG3. Who's in the right? Who's in the wrong? What are your thoughts on this?
I agree 100% with what James said, but the thing is RG3. Where Ryan Clark said RG3 don't know what to talk about when it comes to Black women. I'm pretty sure that their daughters are mixed, so he kind of has a right to speak upon that. Plus his mother. So I mean, Ryan, when talking about the wife, and once RG3 puts that out on Twitter, then it becomes fair game for the media, which that's what Ryan Clark is. But don't bring his daughters into that stuff. That's not cool. You don't mess with a man's family.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you, man. Like, there's a part of it was like, there's ways he probably could have worded it better. Oh, and look, Ryan Clark is very articulate. Like, if you listen to it, you're like, that he sounds. It doesn't seem malicious the way he was saying it. Then you go back and listen. It's like, okay, I can see where that could be a little bit, miscued and everything.
In his tone, he sounds like he's very much joshing him, picking on him. But I mean, it's nowadays words are sticks and stones.
Yeah. The other part of this, though, y'all, that we haven't kind of touched into, when Ryan did his rebuttal, he talked about how bad of a teammate RG3 was. He was he went into him about like, you was a bad teammate on the football field, and you were a bad teammate in the booth. And then he talked about how he kept trying to help RG on certain aspects, but he just wouldn't get out of his own way. And I was just like, ooh, he went for the jugular. So I think that obviously there's something there with Clark that he just didn't like from when RG3 was at ESPN, and it just, his words may have united this this whole situation.
But there's
definitely some spoiled milk involved here.
Family.
It's still milk involved. It's still milk involved in some form of fashion.
This would never have happened if RG3 didn't put out these milk tendencies. I don't know, man. He the one put the milk out there. Nobody else would have known shit about milk if he won't doing it.
James is 100% right on that, because he's really going after that milk.
Yeah,
does he have a milk sponsorship at this point?
Right.
Because the way he uses it and the frequency, it's like, I'm like, is he sponsored by milk? Like, the old got milk mustache. Like, they could bring that back and he could be the face of it.
He uses it so often. Cows beating up the chickens.
Well, here's my last thing, and before we move on, but it's like,
I don't think he spilled any of that milk, Joey. He lapped it all up.
Instead of spilling the tea, you be spilling the milk. That's great. But I think like if you continue to, mock your, well, I don't say mock your wife, but if you keep labeling your wife as, milk, 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 everybody knows what you mean. You mean white, 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 white. Okay, we understand, brother. You got a white, white, and that's cool. Like, she's a beautiful woman. But what I don't like for this overall, y'all, is that now both wives are getting attacked. And now Ryan Clark's wife is getting attacked because they put side-by-side pictures up and they said, oh, look at her. She big. I saw her. I think she's a beautiful one. I don't think she was that big, but they look at, they were looking at her and they were saying that. So now they're attacking both wives on a situation that's all about a foul. That we went from a foul to, your wife is this, your wife is that. Even one of the Ochos came out and tried to save the day. And I just don't think it was enough. There might have been a manual. So it's sad to see, fellas. It's sad.
You mean Ochos? You
said Ochos.
You said Ochos made like Chad saying, I was giving her all I had.
Hey man, Chad was at the strip club on his last episode of Nightcap. And Shannon was like, hey man, where you at? He's like, none. He said, are you at the strip club? And then all of a sudden 3 strippers came onto the screen, and I was like, what is happening here? So he had 3 strippers on there, and then Chad left and let the strippers start talking on the show. He said, what's your name? She's like, I'm Lavender Gold. I'm like, all right, now this is crazy.
I mean, well, look, I can't say but too much. All right, he got his own bag of stuff to deal with. So
be quiet, Shannon.
Right.
Be quiet, Shannon.
He just got to roll with the punches on that one.
Make sure you hang up the phone. That's all we got.
Right. That's all we asking. Like, brother, please, brother, please. All right. So hopefully Ryan Clark and RG3 will figure everything out. But now we got to talk about some NBA, y'all, because the NBA playoffs are pretty much we're winding down. The conference finals are here. I don't think a lot of people saw this as the conference finals based off of how things were looking. No one saw Knicks versus Pacers conference finals on the east side. Nobody saw maybe OKC in there, but Minnesota, I think, is like a 6 seed, and they weren't having the greatest time during the year. But these two faced off last year too. So now we see these two Eastern Conference Finals and Western Conference Finals. We saw the Thunder win in Game 1. And the MVP, shout out to the MVP, y'all. And I'm not gonna SGA because I'm not gonna say
Gilgeous
Alexander. I saw every time I see Gilgeous, get nervous.
Shy Glorious Alexander.
Yeah, that guy.
I tried to Lamont it earlier. I looked it up.
Yeah,
I studied it for a bit.
Next time we have to have a hard name, we get the sound and just play Lamont playing this.
The second foreign player to win the MVP.
And that's crazy because I forget that he's from Canada. Like, I forget that he's from Canada. But I'm proud. I like a guy like him. I mean, like he, drafted by the Clippers. He gets traded in that Chris Paul trade. He comes to Oklahoma
Paul
State.
George trade. It
was a Paul George trade. My fault. Yeah, Paul George trade. And he comes over, and a lot of people didn't have any really like expectations of what he was going to bring there. And once again, this is the third MVP that the Thunder have had.
Mm-hmm.
It's the third MVP that the Thunder have had.
And he was second place last year.
He was second place. I thought he should have won it last year personally, but that was just I thought he should have won it last year. But the NBA's like that. They'll give it to one guy this year that don't deserve it, and then the next year they'll be like, all right, now he deserved it this year. Don't get me wrong, but they're usually a year late when it comes to these MVP awards. But let's kind of get into these series. Jay, I'll start with you first. We'll get with the West. Who do you got? Who do you got in the series with the West and with the Wolves and the Thunder? And how excited are you to see Alexander go up against Anthony Edwards in this Western Conference Finals?
Just for me, because my son-in-law is from Oklahoma, a huge Thunders fan. So I got the Thunder pulling it off 4-2 and making it to the championship. I really think as long as they stay hot, they'll be fine. If they start just doing their normal, let's fall apart or do what my Cavs did. Yeah.
You can't do that. It's weird because like the teams that are in this year, like 3 of the teams have never won it. And there's a team that hasn't won it since 73. So it's almost feels like essentially we're getting a new NBA champion for the first time ever. Even though the Knicks have two, but it's been so long. It's like, bro, if they win it, it's the first. It feels like the first time ever, at least in our lifetime. And we've seen so many great Knicks teams. So it's over the years, and so it'll be interesting to kind of see how they pull off that one.
Combinations of Knicks.
Exactly. James, Western Conference Finals. What are your thoughts? Wolves versus Thunder.
I think the Thunder do pick it up in 6. Right now, I think they clearly have the better team, and you could arguably say even the better superstar when it comes to Shea versus Ant. In game 1, we saw where it was close early on, and then the Thunder hit their stride and blew it wide open after halftime. I know a lot of people may try to argue that, well, Shea's a foul merchant. He's hunting for fouls to get to the free throw line, but I would still say he still plays with a certain grit and toughness to his game to where, the refs give him those calls because they genuinely don't. Hey, more than likely he was fouled, or hey, we've seen him take contact before. He had to have been fouled there, or something went wrong here on this play. A lot of people try to liken it to James Harden's style of play, where, he was this foul merchant collecting all these fouls during the regular season. And then come playoff time, when the game gets more intense and a little bit more physical, the whistle kind of gets swallowed by the refs. Well, we've seen Shea still get the benefit of those calls. We've seen it early in game 1. He still gets the benefit of the whistle. And I believe it is because he does play the game with a little bit more of a physical mentality than Harden did. But then also, I feel like he's got the better pieces around him. When you look at Jalen Williams, the one that starts, and then also the one that comes off the bench, but then having Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein, he's got a little bit more insulated help around him. Whereas with Ant and the Timberwolves, we can see where, there's Ant, then there's Julius Randle. But after that, some nights there can be a drop off to where either they don't have that third guy to kind of help pick up the intensity of the scoring when needed, or if Ant and Randle need a breather and go to the bench, they don't have that guy that can kind of come in and produce offense. And so I believe ultimately that's what's going to get OKC over the hump and into the finals.
It's been such a great job, by the OKC front office. I mean, we laughed when they had accumulated 9 million draft picks. And for the next like 10 to 15 years, they just were like, it was a crazy amount. But here's the funny part. They still got all those draft picks and they're still this good. This is one of the greatest jobs I've ever seen from a GM in the history of the NBA, in any sport, to be honest with you. To be able to be that young, and with the way this is shaping up, a really good chance. You go 68-14 on the season, a really good chance to win an NBA championship. Not with the Durants that you had, not with the James Harden that you had, not with the Russell Westbrook, but with this team.
And knock on wood, staying healthy. This team is so good and so young that they could dominate the NBA for years to come if everything is.
And they
done
haven't
right.
started paying everybody yet.
Right, and that's
they haven't started paying everybody yet.
They still got time.
We'll see what happens when that happens. But I mean, as the Thunder win the championship this year, Sam Presti, you might look at him as an up and come, like one of those GMs where it's like
Howie Roseman.
We don't hear his name a lot, but it's like he could be top GM. But then also we could go back and look at that trade that landed Shea in OKC.
Pat Riley type of trade.
And it's like one of the best trades ever for them, and one of the worst trades ever for the Clippers. Because all they got back was Paul George, and they never got over the hump. And now he's gone.
Yep.
And can't get over the hump in Philly.
He can't even get out of it. The Clippers can't even get out of their own way. Every year they got all this talent on this team. Or it's old talent now, but they got all this talent in the team, and it just never comes. Brand new stadium, everything. It just never comes to fruition. So there's something they got to figure out there. But shout out to OKC. They've done a really good job. Minnesota, this is their second year in a row that they've been in the Western Conference Finals, so they're no slouch. If Ant can figure things out, and Gobert, it's still early. We got game 2 tonight. So then we go to the Eastern Conference. We saw a thriller. We saw a thriller in New York. It was 138-135, but the Pacers had to, first Halliburton is a monster. This man hits one of the craziest jump shots of all time. Hits him with the Reggie Miller choke job. They move on, and then they win in overtime by 3. James, I'll start with you first. Knicks Pacers. This is another one of those 90s
Who?
rivalries and early the early 90s and what
Okay.
yeah. He's like, who? So
Well,
go Jays first.
There's too much J going on.
Hey, it's the J&J podcast in here. Come on now, let's talk about it. Hey, but so yeah, we got those two with the Knicks and the Pacers, and we've seen these rivalries heat up. Even when like Carmelo was there, it started heating up again with Herbert and those Heat years. We saw a little bit of it then. What are your thoughts on this series, man? The Knicks fans are crazy. What are your thoughts on this series?
So again, I feel like this is going to be the toughest for these two series. I feel like these teams are going to trade blows back and forth, and I think it does go 7. And I don't know. I got this weird feeling, man. I think the Pacers could probably do it. I mean, we saw how nobody gave them a shot really against the Cavs, and they went into Cleveland, win games 1 and 2 on the road. And of course, Halliburton hits the crazy shot at the end of game 2 to win it at the buzzer. And he almost did it again last night, but his toe was on the line, only to then propel his team to get the dub in overtime. And so Indiana right now, man, they have this it factor to them to where, it's driving them forward. And we've seen them erase deficits throughout the playoffs. And for whatever reason, when they really need it, their shots are on and they hit. And so right now they have that it factor. And I'm going to roll with it, man. I'm going to go with Halliburton and the Pacers. I think they get it done in 7. I know that's going to piss off a lot of New York Knicks fans, but I mean, you're back in the finals. Baby steps, you're getting there.
Yep.
But I feel like right now, man, Halliburton and the Pacers, they've got it.
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely
and it doesn't help that the Knicks rotation is so small. Like
that's true. That's true.
The Pacers play a good amount of players, whereas the Knicks, they got their rotation. Thibodeau likes his 5-6 guys that he'll run in and off the bench, and
Thibodeau
those guys are going to get tired out.
Thibodeau don't be stretching the bench for nothing. You guys like a game last night. You gotta win that game because of how tight that bench can be. Jay, we head to you, man. Pacers, Knicks. It's 1995 all over again. Reggie Miller.
I agree with James. I got the Pacers in 7. Every one of the Pacers starters last night scored in double digits. Naismith did not miss a 3. He made 6 threes in the fourth quarter. He was the person that brought him back. They're getting the random person hot at the right times, and Halliburton is solidifying himself as the superstar in this league. So I mean, and I seen Obi Toppin is now a Pacer. Remember when we thought he was the next great thing, and he's not? What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, he was with the Knicks, and then they traded him to Indiana, and so he's solid bench role there, but he never accumulated to what they thought he could be. He was killing them when he was in Dayton, though. Boy, he was out there flying past people.
Naismith Player of the Year.
Yep, he was killing it. So here's my thing. There's a part of me that wants to see the Knicks go to the finals. And this is coming from a Heat fan. This is a tough thing for me to say. But there's something like I feel like if it doesn't happen now, it don't happen.
That's because you feel bad for New York, period.
That dude, right? Like I feel like if it doesn't happen now, it doesn't happen. Like if they don't go to the finals now, try to win this thing now, it doesn't happen. This is their best chance. Boston is gone. The Bucks are out of there. All of the big dogs are out there, and yes, Indiana's going to give them every bit of that they can handle. That's what's like. If they're going to do it, it has to be now. The other part of this is if you're the Sacramento Kings, how sick to your stomach you have to be. Like you had Halliburton and you had Fox, and you traded both of them. You made the playoff once. You're like, we're going to be fine. You traded both of them. And so I mean, he landed, he was there. You had him. And you said, nope. He was hurt. He didn't want to leave. And ever since he's left there, he's proven why you made a mistake. So if you're a Sacramento Kings fan, I feel so sorry for you. Your ownership group, your GM, they don't love you. I just want you to understand that they don't love you, man, because like their pickup of Siakam last year, is such an underrated pickup. Siakam's a guy who can average anywhere between 15 to 25, and you wouldn't be surprised. He's a really good player. He was there with Toronto when they won the championship, so he has the pedigree. He's a guy on that team that's been there. So there's a part of me,
and he played the most minutes last night too.
Exactly. There's a part of me that says a guy like that with that experience, along with a star like Halliburton, they help Indiana push through. I think Indiana fans, you're gonna have something to smile about. I know. I'm sorry, Knick fans. I kind of want y'all to win, but there's a part of me that's like, look, the way Halliburton and that crew. And James made it a great point. Like they have their bench depth is just way better. So Indiana, going back to Indiana, as Michael Jackson would say. So
and Jalen Brunson, I feel bad for him because he's going to end up leaving. Because if his braids get any tighter, his forehead will be back here.
So there it is. There's our Eastern Conference Finals predictions. Joey said he's only picking the Minnesota Wolves because he used to live there. So he go Wolves. That's the only prediction he got on that one. All right, so there it is. There's our Eastern Conference Finals. When we come back next week, we'll get a little bit more into that. But for now, it's time for us to go to the main flame and talk about some NFL. All right, so with this NFL topic that we have here, the NFL schedule came out a couple weeks ago, so we all haven't kind of had a chance to talk about the games that we're excited about. This is going to be a very interesting NFL season. A lot of international games, a lot of key games going on there, but a big season ahead. There's a lot of great storylines coming in, and it's going to be. Oh, wait a minute, y'all! This happened just now. We'll talk about it once we get it, but a lot of great NFL things going on, heading into a lot of great games. So I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. But before I get in that, reported by ESPN, Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard clash at half court before they get separated by their teammates. So just somebody else ready to fight Caitlin Clark for whatever reason. Caitlin, you got to get your hands ready.
Did you say Caitlin Clark?
Yeah.
Ryan Clark?
Yeah, Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard. My fault.
Okay.
I think Ryan Howard. Yeah. So Ryan Howard. Ryan.
It's Ryan.
Is it Ryan Howard? Okay,
yeah.
So Ryan Howard. They get into a little bit of clash. So we just got to get her either a security
I don't know
guard.
if I can show this, but never mind. Well.
So we got to get her some security or give Tyson the trainer or something because she got to be ready. These people are coming at her at all types of different. And she need to get some UFC training. She might have to put somebody to sleep before the end of the season to protect her.
Get Rousey to teach her the armbar or something.
Yeah, just to protect her gangster just a little bit. All right, let's get into it. Top 5 or top 3 NFL matches heading into the 2025 season. Jay, I'll start with you first. What 3 matchups are you so excited to see this year?
My first 2 are in week 1. It'd be the Cowboys versus the Eagles. Because I really want to see if the Cowboys really have changed anything besides just adding a couple players.
Right.
That won't make a difference. But, the Eagles being the champs, whether, they lost some very key players and they did another great job of replacing those players, in my opinion, at least. Then we got the Bengals and the Browns on September 7th, which I believe is still week 1. We get to this has got to be the year Joe Burrow puts it together, or Joe Burrow would just be another good pocket quarterback that throws for a bunch of yards in this league and does nothing. Welcome to Cincinnati. Might as well bring back Marvin Lewis.
Oh no. Let Marvin catch strays out here.
Now, my other one is just for you, buddy, because November 23rd, we got the Eagles and the Packers. And I can't wait to see the tush push. Yeah.
Yeah, why they had to be the team, bro? I would have done anything for them not to be the team. Anything. Could have picked anybody else. Anybody. Why couldn't it be the Rams?
Think that information they would have just not let go out there.
Yeah.
But somebody's had to let it go. And
somebody had to let it go.
Something I talked to James about earlier. The Panthers play the Jaguars. First week, I believe. the last 2 times that the Panthers have played the Jaguars, first game of the season, the Panthers have went on to the Super Bowl.
What? Wow. The
And
Panthers
that
fans,
was
get ready.
2004 and 2016.
Wow. Panthers, get ready.
And well,
Nah,
I'm not saying
It's
they
in
ain't
the-
got to get
it's in
ready
the-
so much.
It's in the script.
Well,
it's in the script.
it's in the. We talked about the colors of the logo. It's in the blue is in the color.
Oh no. Well, hey, there it is. Carolina Panthers Super Bowl champs. Congratulations. I mean, that's where we are. But look, that's a very interesting thing. James,
Just like that.
it's a very interesting thing. James, what do we got here? Oh, Joe would say, my Panthers will continue to be trash. Don't jinx us like that.
They're in the South with my team, bro.
James, we head to you. What are your top 3 matchups you're looking forward to heading into the season?
So I got kicking things off week 1, Friday night out in Brazil. We got the Chiefs and the Chargers. I think that's going to be an interesting one because, again, is Kansas City, how they're going to rebound from the Super Bowl loss? Have they figured out their offensive line struggles? Have they figured out the wide receiver position? How Rasheed Rice going to return? But then for the Chargers, a lot of people believe this could be, the year that they begin to kind of take the division away from Kansas City. And so we'll get to see week 1 how both of these teams look. And if, LA can begin to kind of dethrone the Chiefs out in the AFC West. So I got that one week 1. Week 9, the Chiefs again going to Buffalo to take on the Bills. I mean, Josh Allen versus Patrick Mahomes, always an entertaining game. And we'll see who gets the better of whom this time around. Usually Mahomes dominates that stretch. Again, it's kind of like one-sided where Mahomes has most of those W's in the column, but it's always been a great game between those two teams. Then my last one I'm going to pick is going to be, actually week 6. We get to see the new look Chicago Bears and their quarterback, Caleb Williams, going against the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels. Again, we saw Washington go on a tear last year, and we saw Caleb kind of struggle, but since the season's ended, he's got a new coach. That coach has come in. They've revamped the offensive line. They've gotten him additional weapons at the tight end position and wide receiver through the draft. And so that game will kind of give us an inclination of, can Caleb put it together? Can he lead this Bears offense? Can he lead this Bears team to be competitive and then also potentially fight for the division and a championship? Because the pieces are there. They've invested in him this offseason. They've given him an offensive head coach. They've given him a guy that seems to know how to at least coach that side of the ball. We'll see if he can be a head coach, but the pieces are there in place. And if you're Caleb Williams, you have to show strides this season of being able to be a confident quarterback in this league, or else you're headed for a one-way ticket to possibly the UFL.
Oh no, the UFL go crazy.
Dad wants to go there to avoid going to Chicago. If it doesn't work in Chicago, his dad might get his wish. We just don't know if there's going to be a return ticket to the NFL.
Yeah, that's tough.
He's gonna be Johnny Manziel with prettier fingernails.
Prettier fingernails go crazy. I don't really have so many, but I will say the one that I'm excited about the most, Packers Commanders week 2. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to y'all. I am very excited about this. Is what they call bucket list stuff. So for me, I'm excited to be able to go to Lambeau. I can't even begin to tell you, like, to go to Lambeau is going to be.
You've already been there, haven't you?
Yeah, but this is going to be different. this is going to be a little bit different. This is a little bit different. So I'm intrigued to see how it goes, and I also want to see how the Packers got, if they have gotten any better. Because to be honest with you, I don't feel like they did enough off-season wise. Personally,
wear your knee braces so you can try to do the Lambeau leap.
If I try to double dare, everything's getting shattered. It's gonna be a little rough. It's gonna be a little rough. But I'm also excited to see rematch. Kansas City and the Eagles do face each other. I can't remember which week it is, but they do face each other. That's a matchup I want to kind of see. Is it week 2 that they face off?
Week 2, yeah.
Yeah, so that's another one that I'm very very intrigued to kind of see how that goes. And to be honest with you, I'm gonna be Cleveland watching this year. So like whatever game that Shador Sanders, if he's still on that team at that time, if he gets a chance to start, that'll probably be
And
my
you know
third
damn
name.
well he gonna be there. He
I
gonna be there.
mean,
Dylan Gabriel's gonna be there. We don't know if Tiny Hands or Old Man is gonna be there.
Right
But
now,
Shador and Gabriel are gonna
Kenny
be there.
Pickett is leading the quarterback competition.
That's crazy. So if that,
And
so
they're fucking up already.
I think they keep all. I think they keep all
Who's my
four
strong
because
hand?
I think they keep all four because you can have an emergency quarterback, and then on top of that, Watson's not coming back this season. If he does, it's going to be like late December. By that time, they're going to either try to get rid of him or find a way out of that contract. They are. You can tell that obviously they're on the move on, and the way that they show Shador on, they really hype Shador on that Cleveland Browns social media page. Every time they post something, he is in the mix, and they show him more than they show Gabriel, which is crazy work. You should have just drafted him in the third round. What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing, Cleveland?
Gabriel has not looked comfortable in practice at all.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of his passes thrown behind receivers or over the top of them, where Sanders has looked very comfortable. So
and I blame Cleveland for that. They put this kid in. They put this kid in a very uncomfortable situation. It was almost like RG3 Kurt, but it wasn't as the same. But it's almost to that same vibe. Like obviously they needed a quarterback of the future, and a lot of people had them picking Sanders initially in the first place. They're in either one of the first two rounds. So for them to wait and then pick him is just like, and then you trade up to get him. It just, to me, just felt like, and I think, James, you said it best once. He was like, this is the Cleveland Browns being the Cleveland Browns here. You didn't need to draft another quarterback. Just draft the one. You could have drafted Deion. I keep saying Deion, but you could have drafted Shador in the third, and nobody would have banded that eye. Now you got poor Gabriel. He's looking over his shoulder because he knows that that Shador's getting more attention. But if you're Gabriel, this has got to be your chance because the light is not on you as much. You have to shine at a level that you probably never shined before. So good luck to him. It's going to be it'll be a fun time in Cleveland. That's who they should have gave Hard Knocks to, because that bad boy would have been.
Most definitely. That's what they should have. Like, we'd be tuned in for that.
Nobody wants to see Buffalo. I mean, like
Junkins is going to be Rookie of the Year offensively.
Hey, that's another pickup that I thought they did an amazing job, and they still brought Chubb back. Like they got Chubb back. They signed.
So he's
Chubb.
Officially back.
I think they signed him back, if I'm not mistaken, didn't they?
I thought he was still available.
Is he still available? Look,
Yeah.
he's still available.
I was gonna say, because they got Judkins now. I think they still had Jerome Ford. And I think they had another back. I don't know if Chubb is back yet, but I'd like to see him back. I feel like when Cleveland was really winning, or when they have been good, it's because their ground game has been top tier, and Nick Chubb was a big part of that.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
I'm not gonna lie. If you're gonna trot out Tiny Hands at starting quarterback, you're gonna need a good run game. We saw Tiny Hands when he played for Pittsburgh, and it wasn't good. He has trouble throwing the ball in cold, windy conditions. That's the reason he has to wear the gloves. And if you thought the weather was bad in Pittsburgh, I think it's going to be worse in Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so you went against that 2 times a year, and you saw what it was like, and now you're going to trot him out as your starter. That is definitely some Brown stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
at this point, the starting position should be between either Flacco, Gabriel, and Shador.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett should be that reserve or the backup option in case somebody gets hurt, because we've seen he's not able to do it at this level. Physically, he's just not able to do it.
Yeah.
And so why are you even playing around with this?
He does have a Super Bowl ring
ready, or you need to get Sanders ready. You said he got what?
He does have a Super Bowl ring. That's what Jay said. He got a Super Bowl
as
ring.
the backup. Jim Sorgi has one as the backup.
I know,
who else is the backup that has one?
Matt
Backups win rings too. And
Matt Castle?
I guarantee you this.
David Carr.
Kenny Pickett will never get a Super Bowl ring as the guy under center.
Yeah. I don't think I would see that happen.
And they also drafted Dylan Sampson from Tennessee, the running back. So they got him.
They loaded up. Yeah, they loaded up there. I mean, but it'll be interesting to see where Chubb ends up going. I think somebody's going to get a really good deal on a really good back if he can stay healthy. And like I said, that's the big part. If he stays healthy, they could really get a steal. And if he's not doing full blown work, you know what I'm saying? Like he's not like every down back, and he's maybe coming down in third down situations where they use him, strategically. He goes like to a place like San Francisco. San Francisco is always good at having a running back do well. then they also have really good with running backs getting hurt. So it's like it's a weird narrative. So we'll see what happens with Chubb.
You can see Chubb go to the Saints because Kamara.
Yeah. There's a couple places.
Although they got a cap for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
They'd have to pay
they
him.
Ain't got a quarterback neither. Stupid.
Yeah, they be paying him in wooden nickels.
Wooden nickels go crazy.
And chicken feet.
And voodoo dolls. All right, everybody, let's head on to our final segment. It's time to put out the fire.
Fire, burn on. Fire, burn on. Fire. Legacy on fire.
All right, so Legacy on fire. Put out the fire. I'll go first, only because I want to give you guys time to really thrive on this. Pittsburgh Pirates trade Paul Skeens. Get that man. He does not deserve what he's getting right there in Pittsburgh right now. He's having a great season, but they've lost a lot of like one-run games because they can't hit. They can't hit. It reminds me a lot of what happened to my guy, Felix Hernandez, back in the day where Felix was out here throwing no-hit ball all the time, just mowing people down. But Seattle just didn't have the bats, and that's what it reminds me of. And I know they're not going to trade him, at least not yet. But it can't continue to go like this. He won't be there past next year. So Pittsburgh hasn't been good, but what, maybe 3 years, maybe 4 years in my entire lifetime. Maybe in 92 when they won it. I think they won it in 92 or whatever.
How many number one picks have they had?
A lot. And they all end up not being there. That's what I'm saying. Like between them and Kansas City, at least Kansas City got a ring out of the deal, and they're actually playing, decent now. So it's just like to see another great pitcher, go here and maybe even wear his arm out, because he's mowing people down and they don't have anybody to hit the baseball to help this man get wins. He's 5-3. He's batting like ERA is like 244, but like when he is on his game, they're losing these games in the worst way possible. So Pittsburgh, figure it out or trade Paul Skeens. This kid is too talented to be wasted in Pittsburgh. And I can only think of maybe like one team that could use him, as they, try to win the division and, actually win the division the first time since 2002. But I'm not even going to talk about that.
Stop being a homer.
Is this a team that's like northwestern?
like Northwest, a little teal.
Kind of like out there.
Yeah, a little teal, a little blue.
They had this one legend. They had this like legendary guy back in the day, maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
had some great sneakers. Yeah. Okay. I think we know that. Okay. I think I know where you're going.
Maybe
they had
not.
One or two good players that they like to trade away.
Yeah, and then usually they go and thrive, and or we sign somebody that's not supposed to be there, and you sign that guy, and that guy leaves the next year and does amazing. Adrian Beltre, all that stuff.
He was one of my favorite players.
Beltre did us dirty, man. We paid him all that money. He went to Boston, win the World Series next year. Anywho, but no, seriously though, Pittsburgh, get it together or trade this man. Just don't let it be New York, and don't let it be LA. They don't need any more people. All right, fellas. Who wants to go first? Who wants to put out the fire first?
I'll go.
James is in. James, time for you to put out the fire.
You got me thinking baseball now, so.
All right. So for my segment, I want to highlight Hard Knocks for December. We got the word that Hard Knocks in season this year is going to be the NFC East. And honestly, I feel like it's going to be a great time because it'll highlight what two dysfunctional organizations look like versus what a championship organization look like, and then an up-and-coming organization looks like. Clearly, we know the championship organization is going to be the Eagles, so we'll get to see how a championship team is built, what it looks like top to bottom. From Washington's perspective, we'll get to see what an ascending team looks like. They had the miracle run last year. Can they build upon that? Jaden Daniels is already back in camp. Looks like he's added on some muscle to try to extend on the run they made last year. And then we flip to the other side of the coin where we got the Giants and the Cowboys, where every time you look up, it's just like, they did what again? Or fans are just slapping themselves upside the head because like, we did what? They traded for who? They signed who? We let who walk? I mean, if you're a Giants fan, I know there's the excitement of potentially Jackson Dart being the quarterback of the future. But let's see, he's got to beat out Jameis Winston and he's got to beat out Russ. That should have been another option for Hard Knocks to have on their own because we know that quarterback room is going to be insane. Not to mention the rest of the team around them. How's it going to work? We know Dayball's on the hot seat. We know Joe Shane's on the hot seat. Honestly, the replacement for Shane, he's kind of technically already in the Giants building because it's his son. Because his son told him last year, you trade up to get Jaden Daniels. You find a way to make it work. Dad didn't listen. Jaden Daniels goes to Washington. The rest is history. So
his son's like what, 12?
Have the
Already
GM
making moves.
in the building. It's Joe Shane's son. And then you flip the coin to Dallas, where it's just like, honestly, guys, at this point, I think Jerry Jones is putting how to build a championship football team in Chat GPT, and it's just not getting the responses needed.
Oh my God. GPT go crazy.
We all know you do not trade for a wide receiver from the Steelers. None of them work out. AB went crazy. Martavis Bryant couldn't stay off the weed.
Claypool gone.
Claypool out of the league. Gone. Bro went back to Canada at this point. Deontay Johnson last season, he didn't get traded, but they let him go. And he played for more teams last season. I think it was like 4 or 5.
He got released like 4 times. It was crazy.
Whenever Pittsburgh is telling you, hey, we're done with this receiver, believe them. The guy's cooked. I think the only one that worked out was maybe Randall L going to Washington back in the day. I think maybe Emmanuel Sanders, maybe.
Yeah.
Because those are like the only 2. Outside of that, if Pittsburgh's done with the receiver, believe him, the guy's cooked. Not to mention that you overpaid Dak for the second time in his career. Now he's making $60 million a year. Definitely can't feed a team around him. You've paid CeeDee Lamb. You still need to pay Micah Parsons. Oh, and then let's say Pickens does ball out. You're going to have to pay him too. You already didn't have enough money to pay the players you already had in-house. So you bring in another guy at wide receiver who can be a bit of a diva, definitely wants the ball, wants to make big plays. And if he does it, you have to pay him now at the end of the year. What is Jerry doing at this point? I mean, we've known for years he's made questionable moves, but this year, this December, we'll get a look at it behind the curtain to see just how checked out of the building Jerry Jones might actually be.
Jerry don't care, man. All Jerry care about is they make money. And as long as they say, how about them Cowboys? And they feel like they're America's team, they don't care about winning. That I mean, if you're a fan,
is he just reliving? Is it just on repeat in his mind, and he's just reliving the 90s because
he's stuck in 1991.
He just chooses to go back there.
My man's
he's like, I'm not going to deal with reality. I'm just going to go back.
I got 3 championships. What am I concerned about?
Yeah, he's like,
he don't care.
My carpal tunnel's starting to weigh down my hand.
He don't care. He got his 3 wins. I will say this though, Dak, watch out for Milton, man. If you let that, that kid is good. Like the reason why they traded him from New England is because they were afraid that people were going to start calling for Milton and Drake would not be able to get his development. And this was a perfect move by Dallas. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud, but this is a perfect move by Dallas because if Dak does go by the wayside, you got a young gun waiting in the wings that a lot of people like were thrilled about and was shocked that Dallas went that route. But it was a good move by Dallas. But we'll see. We'll see. Jay, we head to you, brother. Time for you to put out the fire, my man.
Oh God, you got me on football now. So
he went from baseball to football.
Nobody had on their bingo card about the sad passing of Irsay. They would have picked Jerry Jones hands down.
Wow.
They still got Cap.
Oh no, we don't went that far, boy.
Well, I mean, of any owner, let's be honest. The man's like 900 years old and still running the Cowboys into the ground. So, yeah, they'll be picking in the top 10 next year too. But I mean, let's talk about the Caitlin Clark thing. She has revolutionized the WNBA to make it a watchable sport for people. Mm-hmm. Because before, I remember, Darrell would be like, "Hey, we got a WNBA game for the Mystics," and everybody's like, "No, I can't make it. I've got an ingrown toenail."
That's hilarious, but he's not lying. He's not lying.
If Caitlin Clark's playing, I might just go watch, just to watch, not just to cover it. because she brings that. What is that? The magic
Mm-hmm.
to the game, because you want to watch her play because she really is fundamentally sound. Her passing, her ability to drop the dimes, and then she passes like magic and she shoots like Curry.
It's crazy.
Best thing I got.
Yeah, or you can say she pass like magic, shoot like bird, and you wouldn't be wrong either.
But
You
see,
wouldn't be wrong
I'm trying
either.
to remove the white and black out of it because I feel that's where people are more focused on it.
Yeah, and like I
it
said,
shouldn't be that.
that's the unfortunate part. I mean, but
Because
it's
Cheryl swoops.
But what I told somebody, this is why I'm not saying she wouldn't be popular without it, but you got to look at this. It's always been a thing in sports. Tiger Woods in golf, Serena Williams, anytime Jeremy Lin, when Jeremy Lin was hot in the NBA, if you are a different race that doesn't normally do something this extremely well, people gravitate to it. It's just I mean, since I've been around, I feel like that always is that's always the case in some. And this is, and look, obviously white people play great basketball just as good it can be as black people.
Bird.
But what I'm saying is, it's like when it's not often, that's why when you see a guy like Luka, when you see a guy like Dirk,
Cooper Flag,
Cooper Flag, people go, this is what they want. They want to see it, and they just want to see how well they do. If there was, let's say there was a great black golfer that came up right now, people would like, and they just say, yo, this guy's the next Tiger Woods, but everybody would be tuned in because they're hoping to see if he can make history in that form.
This is how old I am. You said black golfer. I thought BJ Singh.
Hey, BJ could go though, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought BJ was black when I was a kid until I found out he was Indian. I was like, what? Okay.
I thought he was black up until you just told me that.
I didn't. Oh, come on, man. You knew he was Indian, right?
I did.
Yeah, I'm about to say, come on. There's no way. But I think that's the unfortunate part. So hopefully at some point they get past that. But yeah, we know how things work. All right, everybody, that's it. Episode 176. Episode 76 of Legacy on Fire here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and of course, airing on Bowie Television. We'd like to thank you all for tuning in, and we'll be back next week to bring you some more. Before we get off, James, anything that you would like to say today before we get out of here, brother?
Hey, appreciate it. Glad to be back. Shout out to everybody that tuned in and watched. Shout out to everybody that commented. Just glad to be back. The football's almost around the corner. And last, not really a hot take, but Arch Manning does 2 more years at Texas instead of the one this upcoming year.
I think so too. Look, they told him to stay. They told him the family wants him to stay the entire time.
He's not coming out after the season. Man. He's not coming out.
I can't believe the Longhorns wouldn't change the time of the game.
I did see that. They told y'all, look, it's staying as is. We're not changing the time or the date.
We want to try to move it down like later in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they told us no.
Wow. Joey said, let me make an appearance next week. We'll see you next week, Joey. Be ready, brother. Be ready, brother. We'll see you next week. Yeah, I'm interested, but he's going to stay the 2 years. The only way he doesn't stay 2 years, they win a national championship. He'll leave. If they don't win the national championship, he definitely there. I think that he may stay regardless, but I think that's the one way he leaves is if they win a national championship.
For what they lost in the draft, I mean, they'll beat some teams. They might even beat my Buckeyes, but I don't see them winning the Natty.
Yeah,
they lost too much talent.
Yeah, there was a lot of Texas in the draft this year. Michigan players, Texas players, and what was the other school? Ohio State had a ton of. I felt like every time I turned around, there was somebody
14 players drafted.
It was somebody getting drafted from one of those schools. I'm like, or Alabama, throw Alabama in there too, or Georgia. So that little group, it was just like, somebody
SEC,
from
man. They produce
somebody from here. Jay, anything you want to say before we get out of here, brother?
Just love your people. Y'all have a blessed week.
All right, everybody. Once again, thank you all for tuning in for episode 76 of Legacy on Fire. We'll be back next Thursday to bring you a little bit more, talk a little bit of sports, get you a little update on the NBA playoffs and where they stand. And who knows, somebody might have already punched a ticket into the finals by that time. But we'll find out. We'll find out by next week. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. This has been Legacy on Fire, episode 76.